Hey guys, how's it going? It is Woody HD and welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to start predicting each week of the NFL, the new NFL season. Of course, week 1 was insane. There's so many surprises, so many big scoring games, so many comebacks seem to be the theme of week 1. But we are into week 2. We've already had the Thursday night football game, of course, as the New York Jets, with Matt Forte scoring a hat-trick of touchdowns, beating the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo to get Jets' first win of the season. Buffalo Bills go to 0-2 for the season. An early season struggles for them. Despite scoring 31 points, they were still outscored, and the Jets take their first victory of the season. It could be a really good year for the Jets. Again, the Bills look like one of the underdogs this year as well, along with, I'd say, probably the Oakland Raiders are another underdog, or maybe the Jacksonville Jaguars. There are a few that have look really solid, but the Bills have struggled at the start of this season, and we'll only find out if they improve. But the Jets do get their first win of the season. They got it on Thursday night. Our second game we're going to look at then is the Carolina Panthers, last season's runners-up against the San Francisco 49ers, who the last few years have seemed to really struggled in their division with the Rams, the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Chip Kelly, of course, the new coach there. They got off to the perfect start, a shutout in San Francisco against the division rival as well in the LA Rams, a 28-0 victory in week 1. This is going to be a much harder game though, away up against the Panthers. I can still see the 49ers struggling this season. Of course, they got Navarro Bowman, who played really well on defense in the first game. Kaepernick had a few snaps as well. But it's up against the Carolina Panthers, who of course had that really crazy first game of the season, the very first game of the season, the Super Bowl 50 rematch against the Denver Broncos. They ended up losing 23-21 in that one, but they are going to have a really good season again. I could see Cam Newton being a contender for MVP. Ted Ginn Jr. is going to be flying out on wide receiver. Jonathan Stewart, of course, is going to be electric at running back. They're going to I think San Francisco, although they had a really good win last time out, are going to have a really tough time on their hands to stop the Carolina Panthers offense and defense in this game, and I think it's going to be an easy Panthers win. A really interesting matchup here in week 2 as the Houston Texans play the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs seem to be completely all over the place at the start of the game against the San Diego Chargers last week. Alex Smith could not get going on offense. He's really struggled at the start to get their running game going, their passing game going, making plays, but they've started then to come back into the game, and I think they scored, 20 or 21 unanswered points at the end, and Alex Smith leading the team, rushing in. He seems to be so good on the running game as well. Alex Smith, the quarterback, running in for a 2-point conversion to take a dramatic win against the San Diego Chargers. This time, they're on the road against the Houston Texans, who had a very important win in their first game. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be another vital part of that. Of course, Brett Osweiler, the new quarterback coming from the Denver Broncos. This is going to be a tight one, but the Chiefs have so much talent on offense. They're so dangerous. They've got so many quick players. Jacandrick West, Jeremy Maclin, to name one or two. Jamal Charles, of course, who's coming back. But I can see the Chiefs just edging this one, and I think they're going to go to 2-0 for the season. Our next game comes from the Gillette Stadium as the New England Patriots host the Miami Dolphins, who lost right at the very last against the Seattle Seahawks last time out at CenturyLink Field. I think they had only around 10 passing yards, the wide receivers in the game. Stills missed a vital chance of a touchdown when he was in complete space on the field, but what seemed to be a guaranteed catch, somehow dropped the ball, and it was a 12-10 defeat. The Patriots winning in week 1, of course, quite impressively, away to the Arizona Cardinals. And when you're missing, when you've got a backup quarterback, you're missing Rob Gronkowski and a few other injuries, it really proves that even against probably one of the toughest teams in the league, in the Cardinals, you could still get out the bag and get the win. It proves that you're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I think when Brady comes back as well, they're going to be real Super Bowl contenders again this year, the Patriots. They always seem to have a strong team. Edelman, of course, Amendola, of course they got a few decent running backs as well. The Dolphins, I hope they have I can just see them having a good year this year, but it didn't start out brilliantly last time out, of course, against Seattle, and I can see another New England victory here. Our next matchup then comes from the First Energy Stadium as the Cleveland Browns and RG3 host an impressive Baltimore Ravens in week 1 of the season. RG3, I believe, might have an injury, so that will really put a dampener on their chances. Of course, they've got a few decent. They've got Corey Coleman, of course, Terrell Pryor out on the wings, but they have, of course, Joe Flacco coming back. They've got a few decent players there on offense for the Browns. For the Ravens rather, and I can just see the Browns struggling again. They can't seem to get going at the moment in the NFL. RG3 was a massive signing for them, but I believe he's injured. He hasn't had a brilliant start, and of course they lost in week 1. The Ravens, by contrast, could be another possible slight underdog. I can't see them getting that far this season, but with Flacco and co there, I think they could have an okay season and maybe get to the playoffs. The Browns, I think, will struggle again, and I'm going for a Ravens win away in Cleveland. Next up then is the interesting matchup at the Lions' Den at Ford Field. The famous Ford Field as the Detroit Lions, who pulled off a massive, huge scoring game last time out to get the win. Matthew Stafford coming up trumps in the end against the Tennessee Titans. Of course, Marcus Mariota. They've got a new running back and that insane Ford flip touchdown in the last game as well. But the Titans, you know, in a rookie quarterback, he had an okay season last season. They weren't brilliant. He seems to be good in his feet, and maybe that will come to the fore in this game. DeMarco Murray, of course, with a brilliant touchdown in the last game. But there are some real big dangers on that Detroit Lions offense, despite losing Megatron. Of course, Calvin Johnson retirement. Abdullah, the running back, is a huge danger for them. Obviously, in comparison in offense, you know, they seem to have a lot more possession. Yards per gain is going to be a big thing. Can they get DeMarco Murray going? If not, then I think they could well struggle here. And at home at Ford Field, I think the Lions are going to go to 2-0. Of course, they really struggled last season, but I think it's all going to change this season. They could have a good season this year, and I'm going for a second win on the bounce for the Lions and more struggles for the Titans. Now then, what a matchup this could be. Odell Beckham Jr. and Eli Manning and co. at home in the next game at MetLife Stadium against the high-scoring, high-flying New Orleans Saints, despite one of the biggest high-scoring games of Week 1. I think it was 35-33 or something. Drew Brees had a brilliant game. Cooks was insanely good. With his speed and agility, he's going to be a danger man again. But despite, again, like the Bills, despite scoring all those points, they get 4 or 5 touchdowns on the day, the Saints still let this lead slip and handed the Raiders victory. Of course, the New York Giants welcoming back Victor Cruz, who got a touchdown. Odell Beckham Jr. having a decent game. Eli Manning trying to get going. But Beckham Jr. had a good game. If those two can connect again, Victor Cruz back, it could be a good season for the New York Giants. And I can just see them scraping this again. I think it could well be a high-scoring game. Good offenses. Lots of offensive play, not much on defense, but I can see the Giants coming out on top in MetLife Stadium. What a game this could prove to be. Two massive rivals. Of course, last season they had their insane playoff game where there's so much heat in the game, so much frustration, a lot of things happening on and off the field. Steelers up against the Bengals. This is going to be a massive game. I think the Steelers are real contenders for the Super Bowl this season if they can get Bell back. Brown and Roethlisberger, what can you say about that partnership? Brown just seems to catch everything that's thrown at him. He's so reliable. Roethlisberger goes to Brown on so many occasions. The Bengals got so much danger going forward with AJ Green, Eifert, and Jeremy Hill, Giovanni Bernard. They got so much going on. But this one could be a really tight one, but I could see the Steelers at Heinz Field are going to be way too strong. I can't see them maybe even losing a single game at home this season, so I think this is going to be a narrow Steelers win. Next up, it is the Washington Redskins against the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, the Cowboys have got the highest ranked pick in the draft, Ezekiel Elliott, who played really well and got his first touchdown last time out. FedEx Field, Redskins really poor against the Steelers. Kirk Cousins could not get it going at all. Had 1 or 2 flashes of what he could do, but against this Cowboys team, despite being at home, I think the Cowboys will come out on top again here. Of course, they got Alfred Morris at running back, Terrence Williams, who could be a real danger. And of course, if Ezekiel Elliott gets going, they could have real problems. But they've got a few, if they can get Jordan Reed moving, if they can get Deshaun Jackson, if Kirk Cousins can pick him up and get Matt Jones and Chris Thompson running at running back, it's going to be a tight one. But I can just see the Cowboys edging it away the Redskins, and that would be a really good start to the season for them. I could see the Redskins, I was umming on them at the start, but I think the problem is going to continue at FedEx Field, and I think the Cowboys are going to take the win. Now, what an interesting matchup this could be. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I feel, are another underdog for this season. Jameis Winston had a decent season last season. They re-signed the brilliant running back in Doug Martin. Sims is insane as well. They've got Evans on wide receiver, up against, as I thought at the start of the season, one of the best teams in the NFL this year. Of course, they've still got Larry Fitzgerald. Apparently he's about retirement. Of course, you've got Johnson, you've got Floyd, and if Carson Palmer can get it going, they are pretty much unstoppable at home. The Buccaneers, again, a good offensive team going forward. Defense, maybe not so much. This is going to be a tight one, but I can see the Cardinals avenging their Week 1 home defeat to the Patriots, taking this one in Arizona at the University of Phoenix Stadium. It's going to be a tight one, but I think it will be a Cardinals win. Next up is the divisional matchup. This is always an exciting game, as the Rams, back in Los Angeles, up against the Seattle Seahawks, who just scraped through in game they won against the Dolphins. Russell Wilson, I think he injured his ankle, really couldn't get going until right at the end when he connected to Doug Baldwin. The Rams, what happened in Week 1? I think Todd Gurley had a negative rushing yards at the end of the game. But what was going on there, I don't know. But the Rams at home could be really strong this year if they get going. But the Seahawks defense looked insane last weekend. And they've had some real problems, the Seahawks, against the Rams in the past. Rams can be very dangerous. Of course, Austin as well, who is ridiculously good. But will they start their new NFL pick quarterback? Maybe, maybe not. But I can see the Seahawks edging this one and going to 2-0 for the season. Just about. I think the defense will come up trumps here. Will Wilson play? Will he not play? Who knows? But against the Rams, I can just see the Seahawks edging it. Our next game comes from the Sports Authority Field at Mile High as the Super Bowl 50 champions, the defending champions, the Denver Broncos host the Indianapolis Colts. This could be a very, very exciting game. The Broncos, again, are going to be Super Bowl contenders this year, I feel. They've got so much danger. CJ Anderson is going to have another brilliant year, I think. They've got Emmanuel Sanders out on the wings. They've got some real threats. Von Miller, who is absolutely insane, got Cam Newton again quite a few times in the last game, as he did in Super Bowl 50. Up against Andrew Luck and the Colts, who could have a good year this year. T.Y. Hilton's going to be a main factor for them. But, of course, when you've got against the likes of Demaryius Thomas, the two dangerous wide receivers, and C.J. Anderson, who can break any defense, I think the Denver Broncos is going to go to 2-0 in this game. Just scraping it. I think the Colts will give them a really good run for their money, like the Panthers did. But the Broncos are going to be another seriously strong team, particularly, again, like the Cardinals, etc., at home. So I'm going for Broncos win. Next up is what I feel could really be a great matchup, and I think that the Raiders are huge, real contenders and a real dark horse this year to make the playoffs and go pretty far. The connection, of course, they call them AC/DC in Amari Cooper and Derek Carr. If that connects this year, that is going to be a very, very strong partnership indeed, and that could really carry this team. Murray, who was really dangerous in Week 1, of course Crabtree as well. They got some real good offensive players going forward. Can Freeman and Ryan connect again? Mohamed Sanu, of course, they got from the Bengals. He could be a real threat. Julio Jones, who's always a threat. But I can see the Raiders getting this one at home, especially at home at the Oakland Coliseum. They're going to be a real dark horse this year, and they could go really far. Again, offense is really strong with them, and I think they'll get the win against the Falcons. Coming up to our last few games, and here we are at the next one from the Qualcomm Stadium. It is the San Diego Chargers, how did they not beat the Chiefs, as I said before, last time out away in Kansas City? I do not know. The Jaguars, again, like the Raiders, going to be a dark horse this year, with the likes of the two insanely quick wide receivers in Hearns and probably the star man Allen Robinson. Blake Bortles has got some real amazing offense. TJ Yeldon again, another one who could really come up trumps this season. On the opposite side, you've got Philip Rivers, but I believe they've lost Keenan Allen for the entire season at wide receiver, which could be a real problem. Defense is going to be key for them to stop in this, but I can see the Jaguars running away with this if they get going. Robinson, Hearns are going to have space to move against that struggling Chargers defense, who gave away a lot of points in the last game. I think it'd be another struggle this year for them. I think the Jaguars get an easy win on the road. A massive rivalry, this one, as the Vikings host the Packers at the brand new US Bank Stadium. The biggest problem, can you believe, losing Terry Bridgewater pretty much for the entire season. I believe that is such a blow to their season. It's unreal. What a shocking bit of luck for them. But up against Aaron Rodgers and co. With the problems at quarterback, the defense really carried them last week with a few scores of their own to get the win. Aaron Rodgers, Eddie Lacy can find the holes again. Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Clinton Dix on defense. It's going to be a ridiculously difficult game, I think, and I think the Packers will run away here with this. If Adrian Peterson can't get going as he did in week 1, it could be a real problem here. Sean Hill probably have to come in and back in again at quarterback, but losing Bridgewater is a massive problem, and I think the Packers win at the US Bank Stadium. And our final matchup then in the last game comes from Soldier Field, the very famous Soldier Field, and Carson Wentz, who had a brilliant game in the first game for the Eagles. 278 yards for his first start in the regular season for the quarterback. Amazing job by him. But I think it's going to be Jay Cutler and co. really going to struggle again this season. Even at home, I think the Browns are really going to struggle. I think the speed of some of these Eagles players, Sproles, of course, Barner, Matthews, are going to run riot over the Bears. And I think it's going to be another struggle this season for Chicago Bears. And I think in Chicago, Soldier Field, I think the Eagles go to 2-0 and make it a very... I think they're going to have another one. There's so many dark horses this season. But that is a roundup of all the games from week 2, of course, including, the Bills already losing to the Jets at home. But guys, thank you for watching. I've been Woody HD. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.